Hello everyone, ATR here, and I wanted to make this video real quick to go over the update that has been released on the 10th of September of 2013. Now, this is twofold. We have this update, which we will go over in just a second, but along with this update, we have also now been allowed to play Semoskiy in the winter. So after we finish going through these changes, we will jump into the map to take a quick look at it, see if any changes are, well, quite apparent, aside from, the big ass snow that we're going to see. So it's the white themed map. But yeah, so we'll jump into that after we check the patch updates. So let's take a look here. It says units and abilities. Focus on improving the usability and appeal of abilities based on their performance and design. Abilities which were underperforming were improved, and vice versa. Now, not sure if this is an ability, but well, we start off with the SU-85. So finally, hopefully people will stop crying a little bit about the SU-85. But anyways, so it says there's the acceleration from 2.41 to 2.1, rotation 20 to 18, max speed from 5.3 to 4.8. So essentially, it's a nerf to the SU-85. It doesn't look to be that drastic. It's just toned down a little bit. So hopefully, it is at a point where it's, well, let's say balanced. I mean, that's what we're looking for, right? So yeah, basically it's not going to accelerate as faster. It doesn't rotate as fast, and the speed is also reduced. Because one of the major complaints about people, I mean, aside from people saying that they think it's a little bit too strong with its gun, which I think it probably is fine, but it was the fact that you couldn't circle strafe it easily because it would just back up, reverse really easily and still, turn and keep its forward gun against the Panzer IV, which is usually what tries to counter it, and take it out. So these changes are not that drastic. They didn't like cut it in half so that it's like a snail or anything, but let's see how these turn out. We'll try to get some replays and figure it out, see if it has a good effect or if it's still the same. But anyway, so SU-85 getting a little bit of hit there. T-70 can no longer crush infantry. That is, I'm pretty sure, quite depressing to a lot of Soviet players, but it is, well, a balance change. I mean, it was quite ridiculous, sorry, that the T-70 could uh, brutalize infantry both with its gun or just simply run over them if it couldn't shoot them. And yeah, that is bring it in line to be a little bit more balanced. This was the case also back in Vanilla Company Heroes with some tanks. For example, with the Allies, you had the original tank destroyer, the M10, I think, that could crush infantry because it was so fast. But with Tales of Valor, they had given you another option instead of that tank, which was a little bit more multi-purpose tank. But that one didn't have the ability to crush. So I mean, whatever. I mean, it's been done before, so it's a good change. I mean, even though in real life it probably could have, it brings it a little bit more balanced. This has nothing to do with the T-70. The Guard Troop RGD-33 grenade cover modifier set to be consistent with other grenades. What does that mean exactly? I don't know, but basically it means that it's gonna, be more like other grenades. Not sure what was different about it. Maybe it was too effective. I don't know, but well, a little bit changes there to the grenade for the guards. Chalk troops, a little bit of a buff. They reduced the price from 480 manpower to 440. Sorry. It's only 40 manpower difference. Not sure how drastic that's going to be, how much of an impact it's going to have, but I guess it's a little bit, a little bit of above there, so they're not that expensive. And they also reduced the population from 12 to 9, so maybe we'll see more chalk troops being used. Now, the Penal Battalion Flamethrower. Now, call me a noob, but I have a very hard time understanding what all this means because most of these things kind of sound similar to me. But from what I can gather from this is that they made it so that it's a little bit better. I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, it says here that the fire aim time is reduced, so like it would fire faster. I don't know. If anybody knows exactly what all these modifiers here in stats actually imply, well, let me know in the comments. But from what I could see here, it looks like they might have made the Penal Battalion Flamethrower a little bit better. The Sturmovik attack, again, a lot of things changed. From what I can gather from all these changes, it seems similar to the changes that were made to the strafing run for the Germans. That it basically is going to loiter around because it says here duration from 40 seconds to 75 seconds. So it's going to stay in the area longer. They added delay between attack from 4 seconds to 18 seconds, so it's not going to attack as often. But Let's see, they upped the damage a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of changes here. Like I said, basically it looks to me like they made it so that it stays in the air longer and it doesn't attack as often, to bring it more in line to how the strafing run was modified a couple patches ago. Anyways, JU87 anti-tank support, same thing. Loiter duration increased, doubled, and the damage reduced. The delay between attacks also increased. So yeah, again, like basically giving you more opportunity to shoot down those airplanes, right? Let's see here. Demolition charge. This is at increase in damage, 250 to 312, so that's nice. But they reduced, it looks like, the damage against buildings. I would have not known how effective it was against buildings before until I saw the game that I casted where Dullahan was in there. He went into the enemy base and threw a satchel and blew up his own units and didn't really do much damage to the building, and it looks like they have reduced that a little bit more. But considering that they added damage to the base of it, it looks like it probably is around the same amount of damage that it would do. I mean, 312 by 488, that is what, 800? And it was 800. So yeah, basically it does the same amount of damage to a building. They just made it so that it does more base damage. Let's see, area radius. So they increased the radius, the distance far, distance near. Recharge 30 seconds to 0. So it looks like you can pop more satchels or demolition charges. Wait, no, I'm thinking of the satchel. Oh, sorry, Dullahan. I didn't mean to throw you on the bus there. Oh, okay, so this is demolition charges. This is a little bit different. Okay. Well, I can honestly say that I have not seen the demolition charge used outside of the beta. Krebs, I believe I saw a video where he was using demolition charges. All the games that I've casted, I haven't seen a single demolition charge being used. Maybe it'll make it a little bit more interesting. I don't know. Let's see. Anyways, small arms weapon profiles. Focus on better aligning infantry small arms with our health damage system. This reduces the amount of overkill and better enables us to control how small arms function within the game. So this is talking about the actual weapons themselves that the units use. So the rifle for the grenadiers, they reduce the damage, like the raw damage, but increase the accuracy overall, it looks like. Cooldown and cooldown modifiers also looks like they're reduced a little bit. I'm not exactly sure again what all that means or how it translates into the game, but from what I can see here, basically they made the rifle for the grenadiers do less raw damage but be more accurate. So I guess that should, in theory, actually increase, or well, probably keeps it the same. I don't know. Well, anyways, that's the change right there. Panzer Grenadiers with their SMG. I guess that's the one they start with. They increase the damage but reduce the accuracy. The Chalk Troops PPSHs, they again reduce the damage but increase the accuracy. So a little bit different there, but similar, I guess. And the Penal Troops Rifle, they increase the damage but reduce the accuracy. Slightly, it looks like, but yeah. Anyways, reaction system. This is very interesting, very good changes, I think, because this is another big complaint by a lot of people, and was how the units reacted. So let's go through this. Reduce the degree of reaction squads commit to while in combat to better improve unit control and responsiveness. The reaction radius modifier on all weapons was adjusted to better align with the weapon's AOE values. Weapons with very low AOE will no longer cost infantry to take action in response to the attack. So yeah, a lot of people were complaining that, your units were getting shot at and they would scatter and jump into cover or out of cover, and you couldn't control that, and it also made it very difficult to control your units. So they're addressing that and trying to fix it, and I think the changes are quite decent. Reaction timer. Squad reactions while in combat from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. This will reduce how frequently a unit reacts to incoming fire while in combat. So while they will still in combat, like sometimes jump out of cover or hit the deck or something, well, hit the dirt. Well, not hit the dirt because that's an ability, but they jump and throw themselves on the floor. It's not going to happen as often. It's going to happen every 30 seconds. So once it happens one time, you have 30 seconds of full control, or should have 30 seconds of full control in your squad. Out of combat reaction timer from 5 seconds to 25 seconds, once again reducing how frequently a unit reacts to incoming fire while out of combat. Now, while out of combat, I would assume you're probably referring to either artillery or mortars that are, barraging you. But that's good. I mean, probably the first hit will make your units jump into a hole, and then you have 25 seconds after that to control them and get them out of the area before they're going to try to jump out of the way again. So that's nice. We'll see how it translates again into the actual game. But I believe these two changes are very, very good overall. Anyways, heavy tanks. One major issue we sought to resolve with the viability of heavier tanks within the mid-late game. Their cost and performance was refactored to better take into consideration their effectiveness at the later stage of a match. Additionally, heavier tanks should be more viable in smaller matches. Now this hopefully will make people a lot more happy, or happier. Tiger, the reload from 6.25 to 5, so basically shoots faster, it looks like. Armor, reduced the armor though, 350 to 300. Acceleration, a little bit more, 1.2 to 1.8. Max speed though was reduced overall, 4.7 to 3.9, and the deceleration from 4.2 to 3.9, so it stops slower, I guess. But the price was modified, so instead of costing 600 manpower and 250 fuel, they took off 50 of the fuel, they put it at 200 fuel now, but 720 manpower. So it is quite heavy on the manpower, but a little bit more forgiving on the fuel, and you can probably feel that a lot faster that way. The IS-2 had its armor also reduced by about 50. That's actually exactly 50. The damage went up 160 to 240. Penetration 140 to 170, so a lot more penetration there. Deflection damage removed from the main guns. No, that's interesting, but at 170 it should probably be penetrating most of the time, but I guess if it ever deflects, it's not actually going to do any damage. And the price also changed, 680 and 300 to 760 and 240. So significant reduction there, 60 fuel if I'm not mistaken, but quite an increase in manpower. So we'll see how that works. And the Brumbar, 520 manpower, 170 fuel to 680 manpower, 140 fuel. And the Panther should probably be more appealing now. 440 manpower, 165 fuel to 600 manpower and 130 fuel. So it's pretty cheap for a Panther, I would think. But well, we'll see if people keep on using their Panzer IVs. Weapon teams. Focus on improving early game flow and balance. Weapon teams should be support units rather than frontline soldiers. Duh. The Maxim and MG42 had their weapon profiles adjusted slightly, resulting in some performance modifications. As a result of this change, the Maxim should suppression. I guess suppression. Yeah, the Maxim should suppress slightly faster than before. The overall DPS remains relatively unchanged. The changes to weapon traverse making flanking a MG easier when using multiple squads. The changes to weapon traverse make flanking an MG easier. Sorry, got a little tongue-tied there. Okay, so yeah, changes on those guns. The HMG and mortar teams, it says now receive 25% more damage, so should be easier to take down with standard infantry. Soviet sniper, I am not exactly sure what this means. It says cooldown duration multiplier far from 1.5 to 2. Is that cooldown on each shot, on the cloak, or what exactly is it? Because it says it's cooldown duration multiplier, but cooldown from what? I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments below. Maxim, damage from 9.5 to 5, so reduced damage for the Maxim, increased accuracy overall, increased rate of fire for near, I'm not exactly sure what that means, and from what I can gather from this, the weapon horizontal traverse speed, 90 to 35, this means it would essentially switch targets slower, is that what I'm understanding? So basically it's going to be more accurate, it does less damage per shot though, so still going to hit a little bit more than it was before, so should be relatively the same amount of damage, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know exactly what it means, but for me it means that it basically it's going to have a harder time switching targets in its arc. MG42, the damage was increased, but the accuracy was reduced. Cooldown increased. Again, I don't know what it means there. And the suppression, what am I trying to say here? Basically, the suppression was halved, pretty much. Not exactly. I mean, still. Let's see. Yeah, it's not exactly half, but almost half of the amount of suppression that it was providing. So hopefully that means that no more insta-pins with the MG42 and people can start, enjoying the game. Anyways, rate of fire near 1.2 to 1.1. So it looks like they reduced the rate of fire, and again the weapon traverse to 25. So If it is what I'm understanding, it means that it's gonna, take longer to switch targets. So you could potentially, get that squad across from its arc of fire and behind it. And suppression modifier applied to suppress targets from zero point 0.5 to 1. What did that mean exactly? I don't know. Let me know if you guys know. But anyway, so yeah, it looks pretty much pretty good changes overall. I'm not exactly sure about all these abilities changes on those airplanes. I mean, personally, I don't know if those were overpowered currently and a big problem, but well, they made some changes to adjust them. They do behave now similar to other airplane attacks, so I guess that's fine. And yeah, I mean, mainly speaking, we have the Su-85 changes, which hopefully will, you know, uh, yeah, stop the crying a little bit. Maybe people will still use it. I doubt that this is going to take it out of the game, but hopefully it's a little bit more forgiving, and German players can get more, more plays where they can actually get behind it and kill it without suffering ridiculous losses. But yeah, well, let's see how that translates. Also, very important is the MG42 changes, which also a lot of people were complaining about. In any case, aside from those changes, like I mentioned earlier, we have Semoskiy in the winter. So I will see you on the other side in Semoskiy. And welcome back. So we are now in the wintry lands of Semoskiy. So yeah, just jumped real quick into the map to take a look and see what has actually changed. So, well, mainly, as with all other maps, well, not all other maps, all other winter maps, well, the rivers and lakes are frozen over. So that means that, well, essentially the Samoa pin, as most people know it, is no longer going to be possible, at least not easily, obviously. You still have the house that is controlling the point, which is going to make it very, annoying and easy to protect that point with an MG like in this house. Also, houses over here and such, but you are no longer, required to go through that little stretch of land. So you can always, just run through the river here and, well, get around, flank it. Let me go ahead and, well, actually, no, we're just trying to pan. It's not like we're casting a game. Let's get through the area a little bit quicker. Let's take a look at the tactical map. It looks pretty much the same as far as point distribution. Yeah, I can actually say that it is exactly the same. It doesn't look like the rivers are actually any points. They are still going to be neutral, essentially. So this point doesn't connect this point over here. You still have to, connect it through there, but, you can actually traverse that space. So yeah, territory-wise, it looks the same, so no changes there. Heavy snow in some areas, as you can see right there, so that's going to make traveling a little bit harder. But looks for the most part like there's still those areas that are open here. The houses are all the same, and yeah, I don't really see any big differences. If any of you know actually what big differences are, I guess you could tell me. But I mean, like I said, the important thing is that it opens the map and allows for a lot of different tactics. Because in Samoa, well, even though it's not usually down to choke points, it is very choke pointy. Especially, you have this one right here, this one right here as the main ones, and then you have this one over here that can also work because of this little island. But this little island is now completely accessible from any direction, so that's interesting. Also, you can go through the sides and, get over here and attack the enemy base if you wanted to for some reason. Get yourself over here in this side of the territory, this house a lot easier, just going through here or going through here and jumping the fence, and make an even stronger pin. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna make it a little bit interesting. Stop shooting at my guys. Run, don't die. Anyways, yeah, I mean, yeah, this side of the map is pretty much untouched. It's gonna be the same. I mean, yeah, there is heavy snow on this side of the map over here, but it looks like these center points, well, this one is heavier snow, but like right here, there's no heavy snow on these hail bales, and on the fuel point or around here, there's snow over here. So yeah, it's a little bit heavy snow, but it's not as prominent like, for example, on Langreskaya. That one, the snow version of that map is actually quite interesting because there is a lot of heavy snow, so it limits movement quite a lot. And yeah, and obviously we have the big-ass frozen lake, which you could traverse, but you run the risk of getting your stuff sunken in there. So yeah, very nice. Hopefully I will find a replay on the snowy, wintry wonderland of Semoskiy in the future. hopefully soon. Unfortunately, this does mean that any replay that I didn't manage to get on the previous patch is now essentially boned, because this patch did actually change values on the units, so those are not going to work anymore. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I got a couple replays requested and stuff that I was not able to cast before the patch hit because of my computer issues, which are now fixed. So yay! Hopefully we won't. Hopefully we'll catch up and start pumping out more content. But anyways, yeah. Let me know what you guys think about the changes on the patch overall. Overall, I think they are pretty positive in its entirety. I didn't really see stuff that I didn't like. But if you notice any major issues, well, let me know, and we'll have ourselves a discussion. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.